Hello, welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, hi! I'm doing the Sweeney Todd room and I need to make some walls for the rest of the house too. So I've cut down some, not MDF, I'll remember what it's called eventually, that Dragons and Dresses sent me. So thank you very much, Mrs. And I'm just showing here the bits I've made already. This cabinet I've got to have a faff with. I have to do that at a later date. But it's not quite right. It's too big and bulky. I think I might have to cut it down a bit more. Because I was thinking of just sanding the bottom off because I've took the legs off. But it still doesn't work. So at the minute it's just a reference point to see how big things are. Look at me. I'm an idiot. Dropped it all already. But yeah, I've got lots of little bits. And little skull bones and plates, and that you've probably seen me doing in the live. That I'm going to make into a gin bottle eventually. But this is the wall I need to put in the attic to separate the two rooms. Oh, this was a faff. I've had to cut again. You know how they say measure once, you know, cut twice, but no, that's not me. I ended up having to use the paper method that BentleyHouseMinis uses to try and get my angles. It's a bit rough, but it fits in nicely now. It's just right. I've get it a wash. It's not decorated. This is just a key for future decorations, to make it look a bit less bleh. And I'm going down the sides, even though I don't know why, because you can't see the sides because I put some stuff on it. And I do apologise about my angles. I'm still not good at this. And as a friend's granddaughter says, one day I will be a professional. I don't know when that'll be, but it's certainly not now. So yeah, I've put the cabinet in just to see sizes. And I'm using this filler stuff because I've got a gap between the floor and the wall. And it also makes sure it stays in. And I'm just plopping it in with a tool and using my finger just to run it through. And it doesn't even matter if it looks scruffy, because this room is untidy anyway. And so, yeah. I am making Mrs. Lovett's oven. I've used a pot for, oh God, what is that called again? Carbonated soda, there we go. And I've cut it down a bit and then put black tape over. I sliced the doorway out, so I want it to be permanently open, but it's still got a bit of a give to it because I've put tape either side just to give it a bit of a hinge. Even with the clay on, it's still a bit wibbly wobbly, so that's good. And the clay, air dry clay, is going on a lot better than I thought it would. See, I wasn't going to put it straight onto the plastic because I think the plastic, it would have just slid off eventually. While it was wet. So this has made it better for me. I'm just putting it in pieces, using the last bit of the white up I've got, and then I'll move on to the stone colour that I've got. Doesn't matter what colour clay I'm using because I'm going to paint it. I'm going to paint the heck out of it. I've done quite a lot of clay on here, put a lot of clay on here just to make it weighty so it don't topple over. I'm going to leave you some music just while you're watching me do this, and then I'll come back to you in a minute. So it's all dry now, and I just need to cut the grooves for the furnace. Furnace, that's the word I was looking for earlier. To make them a bit wider, because I'm going to put some paint inside to make it look like glowing embers. At a later date, I will be putting some sort of crushed glass and a light source inside the oven, just because I want it to look like it has actually got a fire in it. But at the minute, I'm waiting for crushed glass to come. Crushed? I can't even speak. Crushed glass. Crushed glass? Yes, that's the one. And I'll make a little ember pile. But I'm using brown paint at the minute, just to give it a base coat. And base coat in the inside, because although it's dark in there, it's not sticking to the plastic. So I thought if I put a thin layer of brown on, then I can paint over the top again. And it doesn't need to be fantastic inside, because it will be covered in soot and stuff like that, so it's not a problem. I'm going in between each furnace hole, grate, one of them, and making sure I've got my brown everywhere. And you can see it's still got a bit of a wobble on the door, which is what I wanted. And I'm not painting the bottom because, well, it's going to be sat on that, so nobody needs to see that bit. And when it's dry, as you can see, I've got brown, red, yellow, silver. When it's dry and I start painting with the silver, these grid pieces came with the doll's house. They were for a kitchen shelf unit thing. So I've just spray painted them silver, and what I'll do is I'll stick them in and then I'll distress them when they're inside. And I started using my fingers to put the silver on, and then realised you can do this a lot cleaner way, don't have to be so scruffy. So I used a cloth. I still end up covered in paint, but that's just me. I'm not a very tidy crafter. I like to get messy. But I'm putting this on, and it's very shiny, really shiny, so I've got to dull it down a bit. And I will do some dry brushing, and there are other bits I need to be putting on to the door, because it's not quite finished yet. And you'll see how small the thing on the door is that I've got to put on. But I'm putting some black in here now, and a bit of red, just to dry brush in black onto the sides, because we're making it look like soot, like it's been cooking for a long time. And the black sort of brings out the fact that it's looking a bit rusty, like it's been there years. But definitely wanted black round the grill, and down the hinges, which I didn't put in because you won't see the hinges, because everything that's going to be put into this doll's house, when I finally decide which way around they're going, will be in situ, not movable. Yes, not movable. So it's not to be played with, it's just to look at and admire, hopefully, if I do it right. I glue the shelving units in, and I've tried to put a bit of red at the bottom just to make it look like the meat pies have dripped blood, just to zhuzh it up a bit, and it also makes it look a little bit more rusty. And I've took some photos at the end, and they don't do it justice. I'm actually going to say I'm pleased with this. So yeah, I'm putting the little grills in, and of course, because it's round, it won't stay upright, so I have to try and wedge it. And I didn't want them to be straight either, because this is, it's not a new cooker, range, furnace thing. Words, just words. Right, so that's drying, and I'm making a wheel. I don't know what this word is either. I'm having a bad day. I've had coffee and I'm on jittery, all jittery. Coffee is not my friend, even though I love it. And I've had to put light on because I can't see, and because this is really tiny. And you'll have to excuse my fingers, I've got paint covered up all over the place. And I had to cut this in half just to make the cross in the middle. And I also used the little bit that's over to the end of the mat, because the other piece would have been too big. So I used that for a pretend hinge. And this is the final shots. I put a door handle on later on. I hope you really like what you see. There's lots more to come for this house, decorations and stuff and more furniture, and hopefully it'll be all tickety-boo. Thank you. Bye.